So, lads, today we're going to be talking about it, and it's kind of getting ridiculous right now. So this happened last night. I tweeted out about it. Like, this is now, you've got, like, this is what I mean. This is genuine what I mean. Like, the South Carolina fans know no freaking bounds for the hatred of Caitlin Clark. So this is Piles. I don't know who Piles is. Apparently, like, looking at his followers, apparently he's big. I think he's a music artist. I don't know who Piles is. I really don't. So I'm saying this from the perspective of he's relevant enough that people know who he is when they talk about his name. I don't know what he does. But all I know is that I only know of him from one reason and one reason only. When a year ago, or nearly a year ago, the Indiana Fever spanked the Chicago Sky by 35. And then after the game, a random Twitter account started saying that they were at the game and heard a noise when no, they heard either a yodeling woman or a Flight React GIF. And then that pause person basically came out to say, I was courtside, I heard nothing, and got bullied so badly, or saying got so much abuse that they decided to redact their statement that they heard nothing. And that apparently, the Indiana Fever fans were just hurling abuse at Angel Reese. Because even though he was there, the Caitlin Clark hate knows no bounds. And this is just an awful tweet. Kelsey Plum shows you how Aaliyah Boston can look with a PG that feeds her. You do realize that Caitlin Clark to Aaliyah Boston is literally number one in the WNBA in most assisted combinations. And that includes anything to A'ja Wilson, by the way. Aaliyah Boston gets pretty much nothing. It is, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, Aaliyah Boston is one of the best bigs in the league, but she is the best pick and roll partner in the league. Kelsey Plum, by the way, is a fairly good pick and roll player, but Kelsey Plum's not even a point guard. You do realize that the LA Sparks were dead last, don't you? When Kelsey Plum played point guard? They were second last. They were ahead of the Sun. But they were behind the Sky and the Wings. It took Kelsey Plum, moving to the 2 in order to kind of get her to be doing anything. It took Kelsey Plum moving to the 2 to get and Julie Allemond running the 1 to get the LA Sparks winning games. Because the LA Sparks were not winning games at all. They weren't winning games at all with Kelsey Plum at the 1. But this just sums it up where it's like the Caitlin Clark hate knows no bounds. It knows absolutely no bounds. Like, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what what happens. It doesn't really matter truth or not. It doesn't really matter what we can see with our own eyes that Aaliyah Boston is arguably the best being. Like, people had Aaliyah Boston third in the MVP race last year, by the way. Like, and behind players not in Unrivaled. You do realize that when Caitlin Clark, at the time of Caitlin Clark going down, there was a stage where the only player that's currently playing in Unrivaled that was ahead, I just didn't even realize it says feeds. It says feeds here. The only player in Unrivaled that was ahead of her in the MVP race was Alicia Gray by the time Caitlin Clark went down. Aaliyah Boston went down because Aaliyah Boston without Caitlin Clark struggled. And by the way, Aaliyah Boston without a pick and roll point guard, a pick and roll system, is not as good. She is nowhere near as good. That being said, like, you have literally got a point guard in Caitlin Clark, and this is an absolutely shot at Caitlin Clark. And the ironic thing is that if this said a coach that lets her run the pick and roll, you're actually right, by the way. Because Stephanie White does not want the Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston pick and roll. She doesn't want that as their A game. Like this, if this is an actual shot at Stephanie White, then fair enough. Like if this is a shot at Stephanie White, but it's not, it's a shot at Caitlin Clark. If you're an actual, wanting to get the best out of Aaliyah Boston, the person to go after is Stephanie White. Stephanie White wants us to play like it's the 1960s. Like she probably read it in a book. But at the end of the day, it is the it's just mad. It's just genuinely mad. It is genuinely mad thinking about what's going on. And you're like, for me, I'm looking at this. I'm just like, what exactly is this all about? Because is there a way? There seems to be no way of celebrating your favorite player without putting down another player, without putting down Caitlin Clark. Everything is to put down Caitlin Clark amongst these people, and it's fucking mental. It is mental. Like when Paige Bueckers, or during Unrivaled, by the way, when Unrivaled broke they broke the attendance record in the Philadelphia arena. Caitlin Clark was trending. When Paige Bueckers scores 44 points, Caitlin Clark is trending. Even though, ironically, Paige Bueckers didn't score as many points as Caitlin Clark did as a rookie. Like, it's hilarious. Did not score as many points as Caitlin Clark as a rookie, but they're still trying to take any sort of shot at Caitlin Clark. That being said, though, for me, this is just a weird situation all around, because I'm like, I don't even know what to say at this stage. I actually don't even know what to say, because when it's all said and done, you've got a generational guard, an unbelievable forward, by the way. Like, I want that on record. Like, unbelievable center. I mean, I think Aaliyah Boston could, I think there's a world where Aaliyah Boston is better than Caitlin Clark, and that's not a knock on Caitlin Clark. Like, Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark have equal upside. Like, I think Aaliyah Boston has potential to be one of the 5 to 10 best players ever. I think Caitlin Clark does as well. I think Aaliyah Boston has potential to be, like, she's not going to have the accolades of Angel Wilson, and she doesn't have the media hype train behind her, but I think peak for peak, she has the opportunity to be as good as Angel Wilson. I think peak for peak, there's absolutely no reason why Aaliyah Boston can't be as good as AJ. And it's funny when it's like people claiming to be Aaliyah Boston fans trying to, take shots at the easiest way for her to get there by having the literal best point guard. And the funniest thing about this is that you can see in Unrivaled. You can see everything when it comes to Unrivaled. The Fever players know that the entire fucking old world is out there to get them. There's a reason why DeWanna Bonner is the player. DeWanna Bonner is the player that walked. There's a reason why. There's a reason why it was DeWanna Bonner that walked. Because she couldn't get away from that old mindset. She couldn't get away from that old crew that called her every slur under the sun. The old crew calling her every slur under the sun because of a made-up shit about Angel Reese. That this guy could have stopped and decided to delete the tweet because he's a coward. He's a coward. And it was DeWanna Bonner that couldn't deal with that shit. There's a reason why you're seeing the Fever players stick together, because they know. They know it's all bullshit. They know all the narratives are bullshit. And you can even see it. There's a reason why when it comes down to things with South Carolina, at least they are hyping Aaliyah Boston, but a lot even the online South Carolina fans are turning on Aaliyah Boston. Why? Because you didn't immediately turn on Caitlin Clark. It is what it is.